Hello, everybody. Joe Ringen here. I'm an author. I wrote a book. It's called The Ballad of Ages, Tale of Epic Fantasy. I also like to read a lot of books, and I like to talk about the books I read, hopefully to inspire others to pick up some more books and do some more reading. That is the goal of this channel and my life, I guess. I have a lot of other goals, actually. That's not high on the priority of my life. But it's a hobby and it's fun, and I hope people pick up some books that they find from me or other YouTubers because, man, I found a lot of cool books watching other people that are like me, I think. I've never met them in real life. Doesn't matter. I'm getting way off track. Today, I'm coming to you with, you guessed it, another book review. This one is probably pretty well known, but not as well known as most. Wrap your head around that statement. The Star Fraction by Ken MacLeod. This is a cyberpunk sci-fi book. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. I'll do my best to explain it a little bit. But before I jump into it, I'll describe a little bit about how I stumbled upon this book. Because honestly, sci-fi is my jam. Cyberpunk, not really. I've read a few cyberpunk novels. You know, the big one, of course, Neuromancer, Snow Crash, uh, big ones. And to be honest, I was not a fan. I just can't. My brain does not enjoy cyberpunk for some reason. I love cyberpunk movies, but the books, I can't. I think because they should be just comic books, really, in my brain. Cyberpunk is the best medium for cyberpunk storytelling is comic books. So like this book I felt would be a great comic book. Like it reminded me a lot of like Alan Moore stuff, Frank Miller, that kind of stuff. So if you haven't read the tea leaves so far, I didn't like this book. All right. So I'll just start out by saying that. There were some things I really did like about this book. Mostly I didn't enjoy this book. And I want to say up front, I don't want to scare people away from this book because I know for a fact there are a lot of people out there that will love this book. This could crack the top 5 of a lot of people. I promise you that. Just not me. Not my taste. That, like, well, all right. I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'll jump back a little bit. Now that you got the teaser, and we'll talk about it. Anyway, I was going to tell you how I stumbled upon this book, and then I got way off track. So I read this summer Consider Phlebas by Lane M. Banks. That's a very highly acclaimed sci-fi book that doesn't get a lot of love for some reason. Like, man, if there's so many trash sci-fi TV shows and series, why in the heck is no one adapting the Culture series? It's incredible. So good. And like, I've only read the first one. I almost read the second one, and then the library took it back from me. Man, come on. Sorry. But anyway, so I was trying to find another series like The Culture because I thought that book was so good. There must be more out there like it. And so apparently, Banks and Ken MacLeod are friends, or were friends, and so I figured, hey, it's probably like a Tolkien and Lewis thing, and the books are very awesome, and I love them both. I did love Consider Phlebas, the Star Fraction. I'm sorry, man, I did not love. So that's how I stumbled upon this book. Oh, the other cool thing was, well, cool but weird. I'll touch on that here now since I brought it up. All right, so this has nothing to do with the rating of this book. This is just a fun side story, interesting side story. So I got Kindle Unlimited because there's a lot of cool books on there for free. Well, you pay your subscription. Wait, whatever. So, like, this book is part of a series, right? And like books 2, 3, and 4 on Kindle Unlimited, The first book is not for some reason. So I'm like, what the heck? Uh, Luckily, my library had this book, so I was able to get the first book and read it. And then I'm like thinking, I'm gonna love the first book, and then I'm gonna have books 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna finish the series. I'm not gonna spend a cent on it. Well, I'm not gonna continue the series, sadly, because I just again I just can't get into it. Well, what the heck is the book about then? All right, you got the background. You're wondering why don't you like this book, and why do you think some people are gonna like this book? So the book is about a futuristic world. All right, so it's in the future in London, and so the setup's pretty cool. There was a Third World War. A lot of like the world is in different political arenas now. There's all sorts of different like governments, mini states. America's all messed up. Crazy stuff. And technology has a huge part in how the world works, as it does now, but artificial intelligence is very prevalent, and there's like a very like big brother government stuff going on, just monitoring everything everyone does. So, right, classic sci-fi awesomeness, right? The setup is cool. The main characters are part of a certain political affiliation. There we go. And I don't know what that affiliation is. Anyway, I'll touch back on that. And they discover one of them's like a mercenary, one of them's a biologist, one of them's a awesome like hacker person. All right. So they discover a secret AI that's coming to start a war and end all governments or something. And they discover it before it happens, which is kind of cool, like how the dude discovers it. And so they have to try to stop it, but they're sort of torn because they find the AI was programmed to topple the evil capitalists or something of the West, if and start a worldwide war. So basically, they can just start from scratch, and so it's very high level, very high intelligence stuff that I just don't understand. Um, I'll start with what I loved about the book. There were some things that I really loved about the book, and I think anyone can. So this book was written in 1995, and Ken MacLeod, he has such a strong grasp on AI and other technology that didn't even come out into the world like until way later than this book came out. Like AI is just starting to now become sort of like a part of our daily lives. Like it's scary how we could see like, okay, what happens in this book, man, that could actually happen. Like, we're on that road. And for the Ken MacLeod to know that, have such a grasp of it, enough to make it believable and realistic back then, amazing. Like that's really cool to read about. And so the other awesome thing I just loved about this book is the like evil AI program or entity or whatever it is called the Watchmaker. What a cool like BA name for an evil villain, artificial intelligence concept, entity, whatever it is. The Watchmaker. Like it's so cool because it's like controlling and pulling the levers and turning the dials and setting the stage, laying down the groundwork and the structure and the mechanics of how it wants the world to go. It's kind of akin to the Foundation, like how this AI is planning the fall of these governments and all the different things that are going to happen. And so, right, doesn't that sound like freaking awesome? Like that sounds like an awesome book I want to read. And so, like the idea and the plot is so cool. It's such a bummer that the writing was not. And so, like, if it was just the writing style, and I should get into that too, because I'm sort of all over the place as I critique someone's writing style. So, like, okay, the writing style itself was very confusing to me. very jumpy, which is kind of like happens to cyberpunk books, which is one reason I don't enjoy them. When what happens in comic books, but with comic books, there's visuals to aid you, so you know what's going on. This book, it just jumped perspectives. The big thing this book did a lot was it would jump timelines. It would go flashback, present day, flashback, but it wouldn't like tell you, and there's no pattern. So you're super confused, like as you read this, like where am I? Who's talking right now? Like, so it was confusing to read, but you could figure it out if you put some effort in. And the story was good enough to me to want to put that effort in, and I did. So I could follow that, all right? So I was totally willing to give grace to Ken MacLeod for not having the best writing style because, look, this guy, I looked him up online. He was like a PhD or something, computer programmer, super smart dude, like knew a lot about biomechanics. I don't even know exactly what that is. So obviously his first primary like field of study is not like writing or English literature. So I'm totally okay with that. Mine isn't either. So, and as I say this, I'm not claiming to be like Shakespeare, right? Like my writing isn't perfect either, but I didn't do any like English classes in college. Like that's not my thing. So I'm totally on board or on the side of Ken MacLeod in that, hey, it's awesome that you are very smart in a different area of intelligence and you want to try to communicate that through writing to people. Hats off. I applaud you, man. Thank you for doing that and for being willing to do that. So, I was totally willing to not let that ruin my review, the writing style, as bad as it did. I would have rated this book higher. But unfortunately, the things that I didn't like about this book mostly was, well, I'll term it as the high barrier of entry for the reader into this book. So this book is confusing as heck to normal people like me. Right at the get-go, there's so much political mumbo jumbo, all these different ideas, political theories, factions, and stuff just at the center of the story. Terms that like I don't even know, and I thought I knew a decent amount about politics. There's so much more that I obviously do not know, and the problem is, and that's fine, but like the problem is the author never explains any of these things to you. He doesn't tell you what a Trotskyist is, all right? I don't know what that is. He doesn't tell you what like an anarcho-capitalist is. That one interested me, so I actually looked it up. But there's so many all these like weird political factions in this book that are very important. In addition to the ones he makes up that happen in the future, and he like doesn't. So there's like a group called the ANR, and he maybe says what that acronym means like once, and then just refers it to the ANR, and you don't know what that means. And that was so confusing to me, and I couldn't like enjoy the books. I didn't know who was on what side, what this side believes, what their motivations are, and maybe that's on purpose or intentional why he wrote it that way, but I don't know. It prevented me from enjoying this book, to be honest. That plus a lot of high level, like, or highly intelligent, high concept technology ideas were presented in this book and not really explained, not fleshed out. So it was kind of like it prevented me from understanding that and not enjoying it. So that made it tough. And so I feel like there's a lot of this book that I was not able to appreciate because the ideas and the pieces on the chessboard were not explained, like what they do, how they function, what their motivations are. And it's not a long book. It's like 300 pages, 320. So add another 100 pages just to explain stuff. I would be so fine with that because if I understood more of that, I would have loved this book. I promise you. The cool thing, though, is this book, I know this book is jazz. What I mean by that is there are people out there, like I said at the beginning, that are going to love this book. This is going to be held dearly in their hearts. those people that understand all those political theories and computer programming stuff, whatever, people that actually understand that and are smart in that area, like Ken MacLeod, the author, and unlike me, they will love this book. So, this book is jazz music. People that understand jazz love jazz. Everyone else hates it, right? That's the same thing as this book. And maybe that was the goal of the author, and if it is, well done. But so I don't want anyone to think that I'm like bashing Ken MacLeod or anything. He's obviously a super smart guy, and I love the fact that he took the time to share with the world all the things that he knows about computer programming and like political theory. I wish more people would do that. Like, you don't have to be a writer. You don't have to study writing to be a writer. I think a lot of the best books are written by people that studied other things and just found a way to put that into words, to translate that knowledge into words, so normal people like me can understand it and learn something. So I applaud the author for attempting it and doing it. Obviously, he found some success, just not with me, sadly. So the other cool thing about this book was the smart gun. I loved that. That was awesome. It also blew my mind. So the smart gun, it's a character. It's like a gun, but it's a smartphone combination. So it's like a gun that's a computer that is mobile, and you can carry around with you. What does that sound like? This book came out in 1995. That's so awesome. It's like Steve Jobs read this book and then was like, I'm going to make an iPhone. Hopefully, though, they don't make an iPhone with a gun attachment. They probably already have it somewhere. I'm sure the military has something like that. But this is just like normal people carry it around. It's fascinating. It's kind of fun stuff. So, yeah, I gave this book a 4 out of 10. I know there's people out there who will give it 10 out of 10 again. But that just goes to show not everyone has the same taste or intelligence levels. I'm clearly not on that height of intelligence to truly appreciate this book. I can appreciate like dwarves and elves and dragons and stuff. But so there it is. Star Fraction, Ken MacLeod, 4 out of 10. Thank you all for listening. If this sounds like an interesting book to you, please read it. Otherwise, you all take care. Until next time, you have a great day.